gamers? Welcome back to another episode of the Cuddlepunk podcast. I am your host, the mastermind, Veronica Vext. With me today, you just saw him and his band play the entirety of the Wax Bodega tour with Ben Quad, Carly Cosgrove, and Arm's Length. You can see them coming up on tour with Prince Daddy and the Hyena. Mitchell Ghoulish from Saturdays at Your Place is here. Mitchell, how you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing all right. Let's start right off by just talking about Wax Bodega. That ended I want to say either last week or the week before.
Yeah, like a week or two ago. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's all a blur.
You guys have just been going nonstop basically the entire time. That tour started in was it end of March of 2024?
I think March 12th it started. And we left a day early because we had to get out to Ottawa. It's quite a drive.
You guys are going for a month and a half. This has gone down already as one of the biggest tours of the entire year so far. In terms of the DIY emo scene, it's going to be very, very hard to beat Wax Bodega Tour. What was it like just going out on, first of all, you guys were the only band who wasn't on that split. How did you guys end up being the other band that was chosen to go on tour with them? And also just what was it like going on that tour for that long?
Yeah, well, they wanted a 4-band package for the bill, and we met them at, I think it was Pug Fest or Excellency Fest. We met them there and we hit it off. Just started talking to them a little bit, and they ended up giving us the offer for the one slot on that tour. So we took that, and it was our first full US. So it was a really good opportunity. And they were all people that we'd met before. We knew we'd get along with them. So we figured it'd be a good way to, spend a month and a half on the road.
Just based on that tour and fucking Ethy just making the memes the entire way throughout the tour, it seemed like everybody was having the time of their lives.
Yeah, it was so much fun. It literally just felt like being at a little party every night, with all the people. We all got along so well. We're just happy to be with each other every day.
That's fucking sick. So let's talk more about the band itself. Saturdays at Your Place. When did you first come into the band, and what was the beginnings of Saturdays at Your Place as a band like?
Yeah, so we're all founding members. All three of us are there from the start. We were in a different band that we never really played shows or anything. We played one house show, and it was just kind of for shits and giggles. And that kind of fizzled out. It had more members. Some of them lost interest. We kind of stopped playing together, but the three of us got back together and started writing again. And then that became our first release. Something Worth Celebrating was just kind of everything that we had written together, kind of coming out of that jam band era and finding our way into the emo scene. And then coming out of that, we put that out there. We played some fun shows, a lot of local house shows, and some stuff in Indiana, close to home. Then after that, we wrote and released Always Cloudy, and then that's kind of what really got us solidified in the DIY space. And we started getting further away from home, playing DIY tours and stuff.
I remember hearing about you guys for the first time around 2022. It's wild to see what's been happening since Always Cloudy has come out, and especially the That's What Friends Are For split. I feel like that split with Summer Brews and Shoplifter. You have got to be kidding me. Why are you being such a jerk? It's the last 3 times I've done this. He just needs to be up there.
He wants the microphone.
He wants the opinions. He has opinions and he wants to give them. But no, it feels like that split that you put out last year with Summer Brews and Shoplifter, that I feel like was the true breakout moment for the band. Because then I started seeing you guys fucking everywhere.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was kind of happening at the same time that we were starting to get some more exciting tour offers, the one with Free Throw and Prince Daddy we did in the fall. We had the split recorded at that point, and then I think it came out the last day of our leg of that tour. And we're excited to be on a release with Summer Brews, and our buddies in Shoplifter. It was really fun to just kind of, not that it's any less serious, but those songs are more a bit of a departure from our normal sound. So a fun way to kind of explore a new territory.
I was going to say the first song on there, when I heard Pour Over for the first time, no, please tell me, what do you think of Pour Over by Saturdays at Your Place? Tell us what you think, Wyatt, if you need give us your scoop. This is the new segment, Wyatt's Weekly Scoop. As in, aka him being a dick. But no, I remember hearing Pour Over for the first time and thinking a lot of your stuff is that more Mom Jeans, classic Midwest emo type stuff. And then when I listen to this one, it feels a lot more the first thing that came into my mind was Punk Rock Girl by Dead Milkmen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that more 90s, that 90s-ish, kind of alternative kind of pop punk stuff, like Dead Milkmen and like Violent Femmes and all those kind of band.
Oh,
That's
that's a cool comparison. I like that. Yeah, that song's a lot of fun. It's like the driving power chords and like the vocal melodies just kind of like cruising over top of it. Like it never stops to take a breath. It's just one thing after another. So that
it's
was a lot of fun to record and a lot of fun to play live.
I can imagine it being really, really fun to play live. Let's talk about just the live show in general. You guys have a way of capturing a crowd very, very quickly. It seems like you're all just a bunch of, it comes from like, there's a specific thing that I find in this scene, specifically called Michigan energy. Like, there's a very specific, like, kind of like, it's like not so much in Illinois, not so much in Indiana, but in like Michigan and Wisconsin there's a certain amount of chaos that just is kind of built into a human being. And I
I don't know
think that
what it is about Michigan, but yeah, there's so many good bands from here. I can think of a whole list right now. But yeah, just like the live shows in general, if there's a good crowd and like with this tour especially, like every band on there was like drawing. So everybody was excited to be there. And if there's a good crowd, there's a lot of energy and people are moving, like we feed off of that and then give it right back. And it like becomes this cycle and like this feedback loop. And by the end of the set, it's just nuts. We joke about like we like being the first slot. It's kind of fun. It's a bit of a challenge. You have to be the first band that goes out there. You break the ice with the crowd every night, but you also get to set the tone. And if we go out there and we really jump around and like we give a lot of energy and we get people moving around, then like Ben Quad would have to come out and top that, and then Carly Cosgrove has to come out and top that, and then like Arm's Length is out there at the end, and like by then like the energy's so high that like everybody just has like an amazing set, and it's really fun to be able to go out there and like set the tone for the night.
it very much feels that way. You can tell that everybody is progressively building off of everybody. What is I wanted to ask, this is a kind of a weird question, but the week of the Chicago Wax Bodega tour was the week that Quiet on Set dropped. What was
Uh,
it like touring with Carly Cosgrove when that documentary dropped? Because I can
um,
imagine, like, they lean into that shit hard.
yeah, yeah. It was definitely, it was coming up in the green room. We were definitely talking about it, and actually in Atlanta, there's uh it's like a small business just run by like a couple of people. I think they're called like old school hats or old school caps or something, but they embroidered a bunch of hats that said fuck Dan Schneider on them and brought them and gave them to Carly Cosgrove, and they were like throwing them out into the crowd for the next couple nights and giving them away. So they were kind of definitely like riding the buzz that documentary series created. I actually
Very,
watched it in the van one night on a drive. I think we were like driving to Denver, and I watched the whole thing in one go.
it's an intense doc. There's a lot
Definitely,
of
yeah.
there was a lot of catharsis about being there at the end of Carly Cosgrove's set and just hearing the entire crowd chant "fuck Dan Schneider" as loud as they possibly could.
Yeah.
Going back to the "That's What Friends Are For" split, whose idea was it originally for the split? Was that Summer Bruise's idea, or was that like you and Shoplifter and you guys ended up getting Summer Bruise on the thing instead?
Yeah, so it was meant to be three bands from the start. Us and Shoplifter were like locked in from the beginning. We had those two songs written. We weren't really in a position where we felt like we wanted to finish writing and then recording and like doing an entire release cycle for like another EP or an album. So we wanted to do something like kind of smaller, more fun, something we could get out quickly. And what is it? That's What I Call Music, 420. It's like
Yeah,
Prince
yeah, yeah,
Daddy,
yeah.
Mom Jeans, and Pictures of Vernon.
I miss
we,
pictures
we're
of
kind of
Vernon.
paying homage to that with the three bands, and like the way we lay out the tracks is like each band has one and then each band has another one. Then we added the song at the end that has everybody on it, which was a lot of fun to do. But it was originally our idea with those two songs that we had written, and then we really liked Shoplifter, and they're very small at the time. I think they only had one song out. Now they're doing all right. And Summer Bruise is awesome. We've been on the road with them a couple times now, and they're great friends. I'm actually going to see them tomorrow.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, we just kind of wanted to all like throw our names on the same thing, put it out there and see what happens. And it was a lot of fun to do.
It's crazy that you guys were going and like opening for because Summer Brews are friends of the show. They've been on the show a bunch of times at this point.
Oh,
It's
nice.
interesting for you to like be the smaller band going into that EP. And now if you look at the like Spotify listeners and everything, you guys are well above Summer Brews at this point.
Yeah, it's crazy too. They've been doing it for a long time. Like I think they have a break coming too. I think
I think Coachella is going to be big for them this year. I'm going
I
to be
do
doing
too,
press
and I,
there,
I
and I
think
think it's going to be a big
they've got
deal.
they've got some other stuff in the works that I think is going to give them a bit of a boost that they definitely deserve.
I mean, they just opened for Hot Mulligan. Like, how
Yeah,
much
yeah.
bigger in this scene can you get than that?
Yeah, they're the top. So they definitely have some eyes on them. I'm excited to see where they go. I think this is going to be a good year for them.
I talk about this all the time, but I saw when Hot Mulligan was in Chicago for the like big like album tour that they did last year.
Uh,
The last couple of shows was in Chicago, and they were supposed to be both at the House of Blues, and one of them ended up being at Aragon, and so I
yeah,
got to
that's
see.
insane.
Can now say that I got to see Ben Quad play the Aragon before the first album even drops, and I'm never getting
Yeah,
over that shit.
to like 4,000 people or something.
Exactly. No,
It's a huge room.
Let's talk about Ben Quad because it's impossible not to talk about Ben Quad.
Yeah.
They're everybody wants to talk about fucking Ben Quad, even little bastard boys. Ben Quad, they are the band of the moment right now, and they feel specifically. I want to talk about like because I imagine you've gone through there at some point. What the hell is going on with Oklahoma right now? Why is
I don't
that
know.
this? What is that? Why is that like the new scene that everybody
Them
needs to be paying
Red
attention
Sun
to?
cliff divers from there. Um, yeah, they're really making some noise. It's cool to see too. And like before I got into DIY or like touring or even like meeting them, I never really put much thought into like Oklahoma or like what goes on there.
Right,
But it's really cool to see all this music coming out of there. And I've kind of noticed, and like that might be what it is about the Midwest, places that like at face value might seem a bit boring. Like they seem to like generate the most like these intense emotions that come out in this like really cool music and like art and stuff like that. Um, it's really cool to see them and like to have been on the road with them. They're all great people. You can't help but like be happy and be laughing when you're around all of them. And they're it's funny to me because every time I see them, they're like 12 hours away from home and we're like 4 hours away from home. They're
right.
doing all these crazy drives just to like, get out there and like play the game. It's really cool to see like that level of commitment. It's inspiring.
They're just fucking incredible. Talking about like the vibes backstage for that tour or everything. I imagine obviously it was like during your like early spring, so it's not going to be like a ton of like being outside for you guys, but I imagine there's some like bus porch hang like thing going on most of the
Yeah.
time. Like just like kind of like hanging out with like the boys and everything like that.
Yeah, it was really cool. The green room, we were always hanging out in there, eating snacks and shit. We kidnapped Edgar once and took him on a drive with us.
I remember seeing that when Ethy talked about it.
Yeah, he didn't want to come, but he ended up liking it by the end of it.
There
I'm
we
just
go.
um but yeah, we were in a new van, so we were showing it off. But it was really cool. Like thinking back on it, like now that I'm home and like I have time to just like kind of sit and reflect on it, it's really cool to like think about like everything we've done, all the places we've been, and like to have all these people like right next to us at like every single day. It was so cool. We got really close with everybody. We were really lucky to be a part of that group for our first full US.
It's like that's one of those tours where I feel like I'm going to be telling people like years from now that I was going to be able to have seen that tour. Like when all of you guys are exploding. Now, I did want to ask one thing. Now, is you talked about stealing Edgar and doing that. It says here that you actually that Ben Quad actually just traded them to you for a 6-pack and an eighth. How do you care to respond to that?
Um, yeah, it says what it says. He clearly wasn't worth much to them. No, they were low on weed. Um, it wasn't easy to convince them. We were thinking about adding another guitarist for the tour. Yeah, simple as that.
Well,
I don't know who leaked that, who got that information out there, but
I
we
can't
wanted it
reveal
to
my
be like an under
sources.
the table deal.
I can't reveal my sources, but it's important that nobody looks like in this general direction when the podcast is actually up on YouTube when I'm saying that.
Uh,
It seems
Connor.
it seems like the tour was just like the ultimate hang sesh, ultimate like pre-game to summer type thing.
Yeah.
It just seems like the most fun in the world. If you're doing like a great like summer hang, you got to have a playlist for it. When we come back, myself and Mitch from Saturdays at Your Place, we're going to be creating a really, really, really good hanging out with the boys Saturday playlist. We'll be right back with more of the Cuddlepunk podcast. Welcome back to the Cuddlepunk podcast. We're here with Mitch from Saturdays at Your Place. If there's one thing that we know about the Wax Bodega tour that just ended, it was that it was the most ultimate homie hang. of the entire year so far. So we want to make sure that all of our homie hangs for the summer are going to be able to be as lit as that one was. So what we're doing right now is we're making the ultimate Saturdays at your place with the homies playlist. What we're going to do, we're picking 10 songs each. We're just seeing what the best vibe is for the summer. That can be chill, could be a little bit heavier, basically anything that we think will go off with the people. I think this is going to be great. We'll start off with you, Mitch. What song do you want to go on the playlist first?
I'm gonna start off with Reindeer Games by Oso Oso. I think Oso Oso is just like a good. It feels like summer to me. Like they have like a very happy feel to them, even if some of like the lyrics are like deeper and like a little more sad. Like I just can't help but smile when I'm listening to them.
What I like about Oso Oso is I don't know who's actually in the band, and I just assume that everybody with Oso in their Twitter name is actually in the band, and I imagine it's just a large sprawling Brockhampton type thing. Actually, that's a lie. I don't think Oso Oso actually exists. I think they're a plot to get people more Twitter followers.
Oso Oso is a myth.
Oso Oso is a myth. No, I do love that song. That's a good song.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go with something that's probably not the happiest, but it will definitely get the vibes going.
Uh-huh.
This is just Ego Peak Mid. Riley, Keep Your Cool by Riley is my album of the year so far. I have
It's
not
amazing.
gone a day without playing this record since it came out. I'm gonna be saying that throughout the rest of the year, I assure you. This song hits me harder personally than any other song on the record, but also it's a jump up and down jam. Like you cannot stand still while listening to this fucking track.
Yeah, that whole album, top to bottom, is I can't stop listening to it either. I'm really excited to go out with them, hit the road with them this summer.
It's gonna be a fucking sick tour. What's that tour again?
It's the Prince Daddy tour.
Right.
Them and Carpool are both on it.
That's gonna be such a fucking sick. I was supposed to do merch for Summer Brews when Riley and Carpool opened for Hot Mulligan in
Ooh.
Indiana last month, but
Uh-huh.
some shit happened and I wasn't able to do it. But that was gonna be a fucking. I mean, Riley's gonna be on the. They were on my. Riley was on my WrestleMania special this year with Summer Brews.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're fucking
Sweet.
awesome.
Speaking of Carpool, let's throw the Salty song on there.
Salty
I think
Song by
that's a
Carpool.
classic.
Salty Song, Erotic Nightmare Summer. I mean, that sounds like a great summer to me. I don't know about
Yeah,
anybody else.
have to if it's a summer playlist.
Of course. If we're going Erotic Nightmare Summer, you gotta have, if we're looking for Erotic Nightmare Summer, I don't know who builds up that title better than Chapel Roan.
Nice.
Have you listened to the Chapel Roan record from last year?
I haven't yet, but I'm gonna give it a shot. I'll give it a listen today, actually, after I'm done with this. Got some stuff
It's
I'm gonna work on. It'd be good.
this is the album that God, it's gay, God, it's good, God, it's for the lesbians. I love everything about this thing. It's so deliciously camp and sticky and sweet, and that's what I want in my summer pop hits.
Nice. Sounds like a good listen. I'll check
It's a
it
great
out.
time.
I'm gonna throw "Still Care" by Elephant Jake on there. I know they're good friends of Summer Brews, and I like that song a lot. We got to play with them in Philly last summer. It was a lot of fun.
I've heard good things about Elephant Jake. I think they're playing Coachella this year as well, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. And I actually heard about them because I was at Coachella 2 years ago.
Nice.
And yeah, they had an awesome set.
This is gonna be my first Coachella this year. I'm very, very stoked about it.
Oh, nice. Have fun. You going to both
Hell yeah.
days?
I'm going both days. Yeah, I'm doing press for the fest.
Sweet.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be fucking sick.
Yeah, that'll be a good time.
Let's go with this isn't a happy song, but it's still a song about appreciating everybody.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The Weekend by Modern Baseball. Like just being with that core group of people that you
Yeah.
would want to spend no matter the amount of time with, it's okay. Like no matter how long you spend with them, you don't get tired of it. We all need a good little song like that, song for the homies like that.
Yeah, that's a good one. Um, I'm gonna throw "Our Song" by Radiator Hospital on there. That's a good one. The lyrics are pretty sad, but it's like a very upbeat, high energy kind of song. So it's pretty good.
I'm excited about this one. That sounds sick as hell.
I
I
like
have
that
not heard
one.
of Radiator Hospital yet, but that sounds really cool.
They're good. I think they're a Philly band. I don't know for
Okay. I
sure,
mean, if they're Philly,
but
then they're great. Like that's
yeah,
that's a that's an instant hack. I'm gonna add Girl Clout by Fresh.
Okay.
They're a
You're putting
band
me
from the
onto some stuff.
UK. They're a band from the UK. Um, their lead singer has such a specifically like angry like posh punk in a way. Like they very clearly are like they're very put together, but they're also punk as shit about it. And it's about like the song's about using like wanting to like be with girl bands on tours for like the clout of it and wanting to seem like good people. And that's not a it's not an angle that I had heard yet in a song. And I think this one really, really does a good job with it. This
That's
is
cool.
really good shit. Fresh.
All right, this next one's a bit dark sounding like the song itself. It's called February 6th by a band called Maywin. Um, they're really small. They just put this out, and I feel like they deserve some recognition because I think this is a really cool song. That's the
There we
yeah,
go.
there it is at the top now. This the first time I heard it, it reminded me of like I feel like this could be like a bonus track on Youth, like by Citizen.
Hell, that's a good indicator of anything.
It's like yeah, it's got this really heavy like borderline shoegazy feel to it. It's really cool. And then it's got this hook in the chorus that like I saved it right away when I heard it.
Another day, another time where I'm going to be adding 10-month summer to one of my playlists on this show. 10-month summer are the homies. We love them. Broken Fist in a Boxing Glove off of their live EP from G Man Tavern. Guys, I'm telling you right now, you need to be on this road. You need to be on this train with 10-month summer. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And then where will you all be? Upset.
Mhm.
Perfect.
Let's do EpiPen Pals by Dry Jacket. That's a good one. It's got some really cool guitar riffs in it too.
I love doing these because there's always like a ton of overlap with all of the playlists, and then there's shit that I've never heard of in my life, which I'm so stoked
I'm
about.
excited to listen to this stuff that you're throwing on there.
Hell fucking yeah. EpiPen Pals is just a really fucking good name for a song too.
Yeah.
I don't have any lyrics for it yet, but there's this idea that I've been kicking around for a while, Elf Bar Blues. I just think that's a very good, like cool song idea.
That's really good. Yeah.
If you want to steal that, it's fine, but you do have to like put me on a feature or some shit like that.
Okay, that's a really good name. I like that a lot.
Hell yeah. You know what? I don't think I've been seeing this getting enough credit. Paramore's cover of Burning Down the House by Talking Heads.
I haven't heard that.
It's off of so A24 is doing like a re-release of Stop Making Sense, the Talking Heads concert movie.
Uh-huh.
And they've had a ton of people cover all of the songs on Stop Making Sense. And so they got Paramore to do it. It's so good. Like it's every time I think that they can't outdo themselves, they do it again. I think that if you you cannot give a shit about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, there's no reason to not put Paramore in there. And also no reason for Riot Fest to not have them on this year.
Uh,
It's
yeah,
been
they've been going
six
strong
years.
for a
It's been
long time.
7 years since they were at Riot Fest.
I'm gonna throw Warped by Best Witches. I just got shown this song by somebody and it's really cool. Another smaller band and like the end of this song has this hook, like this whole like outro section that just like gets stuck in my head. I like that one a lot.
I'm so stoked for all of this. Hottie by Brockhampton. I got a Brockhampton tattoo in the year of our Lord 2024
Nice. It's fresh.
because I don't give a I listen, Brockhampton helped me a whole lot in a very dark time in my life. And also, I've been going back to their music, and a lot of it really holds up. Yes, the audience was cringe, but that doesn't mean that the music wasn't good.
Yeah. Nice. Hey, I think everybody's got an artist like that that's helped pull them through some tough stuff. I'm gonna throw Kiss a Girl in Black by Fleeting Joys on here. This is like very shoegazy. Like I hear some like My Bloody Valentine influence in it. Um, but it's also like kind of a light, like floaty sounding song. Like I could picture like listening to this around a fire or something at night.
Hell fucking yeah. This is a crier around the campfire thing. Pink Squeeze's Holy Critter. Last night, as we're recording this, they just had their final show on the Jer tour with Insignificant Other.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they are some of my best friends in the Chicago scene. I think I've said it before, this song is going to save a kid's life someday, if it hasn't already. And I think that, it's like everybody needs a little tearjerker around the campfire. At least
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Because otherwise, what's you got to feel everything. That's the point of friendship.
Speaking of campfires, we'll put Bubble Dream by Chan on there. The first time I heard that song was actually around a campfire. That's a good one.
I haven't heard it from Chan in a minute. I feel like I need to look back into them again.
They're good. Not for everybody with like a lot of their stuff being instrumental and like kind
Of
of
course.
technical, but they do a very good job of like making it really listenable, like stuff you can bob your head to, not just like insane like in your face like mathy stuff. Which
If
like
that's
there's definitely a place for that too, but like Chan is some stuff you can just kind of like throw on and like drive around to.
totally. I'm gonna put in
Oh,
that
here we
case
go.
Falcor by Covet on there. This was a go-to like test taking album for me in college, so it always reminds me of like going into the summertime. I think this is very much that math shit, but it keeps it interesting enough for you to not like get it like it does actually make it interesting and you want to follow everything that's going on.
That's really cool. All right, I guess while we're on this wave, we'll put Dragon Fruit by Standards on here. I think this came out recently, but I just found this band and they're really cool. It blew me away the first time I heard this.
Hell fucking yeah. And then in that case, I'll finish this up by putting a song that I put on the last playlist that I did with Callous Cowboys. We're going to go with Captain Awkward by Moron Police. Everybody who likes prog but doesn't like when prog gets its own ass, please listen to the album A Boat on the Sea by Moron Police and specifically Captain Awkward. It's so bright and happy and fun and it proves that like prog can be relatable to an audience, and I think that's really important. Here we are, Saturdays at Your Place with the Homies playlist. Mitch from Saturdays at Your Place, thank you so much for being on this episode of the Cuddlepunk podcast. Where can we find you?
You can find me and the band on Instagram, we're on Spotify, Apple Music, everywhere. Everywhere you find bands, you can find us. Thanks for having me.
No worries. This has been awesome. We will have their link tree and the links to everything else in the description. You can also find my link tree in the description of this video, which will lead you to both video and audio versions of the very podcast you're either watching or listening to right now, as well as links to all of my socials. If you like this video, please leave a like. Please leave a comment on what your ultimate going into summer song is, hanging out with your friends' summer song is. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, as well as on all audio platforms. If you like what you see and you want to help support the show, you can join the Cuddlepunk Podcast Patreon, patreon.com/the Cuddlepunk Podcast, where you can pledge either $3 or $5 a month to get some very, very cool stuff on that side of everything. The logo for the Cuddlepunk Podcast is done by Lauren Young. You can find her Instagram in the description below. The theme song for the Cuddlepunk Podcast is You Lose a Turn by Modify. You can find links to all of her shit in the description down below. Mitch, Saturdays at Your Place, thank you so much for being on this episode. This has been awesome.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.